What's going on? Welcome back to the channel today, guys. It's Ellie Moses, your 21-year-old law and film student here in Sydney, Australia, making my way through the YouTube universe. And yes, the release of F9, the Fast Saga, or Fast and Furious 9, or F9, whatever you want to call it, is right around the corner for the rest of the world in the US. However, fortunately in Australia, we get them usually a week early lately. So I was fortunate enough to see F9 last week. And I thought it would be a great idea to do a tier list of the films with my ranking system. So I am going to rank all the Fast and Furious franchise films, including F9 and Hobbs Shaw, based on my ranking system for my film reviews. And I will link my review to Fast 9 at the top of the video here. But yes, let's get right into it. If you guys don't know how my ranking system works, my ranking system is based off Star Wars. Now, I know it's going to sound cringy, but I want to be unique. I don't want to give like a usual ranking, just as letters or just numbers. It's based off Star Wars. So at the top of the list, you have Grandmaster, then you have Jedi Master, then you have Jedi Knight, Padawan, Youngling, and Trash Compactor. Pretty self-explanatory. So yes, there we have it. That's my ranking system. We're just going to go through them, brush through them. So listen. It's the Fast and Furious franchise, so I think I am going to make the ranking system relative to the Fast and Furious films because in my recent videos or reviews I do in general, I gave The Godfather Part 2 the rank of Jedi Master. Now, no Fast and Furious film, like if we're thinking logically, is going to get the rank of Jedi Master or Grand Master, in my opinion. So I don't think they're at the level of The Godfather. So like, if I was to do this properly based on basing other films and comparing them to Fast and Furious, I don't think none of these films would get above a Jedi Knight. So I'm going to make this a bit different for this video and make it relative to the Fast and Furious franchise. So we can have a couple Grandmasters, maybe Jedi Masters, Jedi Knight, Padawans. I don't know, I'm a bit strict on this, but we're going to make it relative to the Fast and Furious franchise here. Because yes, they are just fun films. You know what it is. They've gone to space now, like literally in space. I'm talking about Fast 9. Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I'm talking about like in orbit. Part of the stars, not just the Earth's atmosphere. But yeah, they got completely bonkers. But yes, we're going to make it relative to the Fast and Furious franchise. And we're beginning with the Fast and the Furious, which just had its 20-year anniversary yesterday. Wow, man, it's been 20 years and we're seeing the number 9 in a film title. Like, I never thought I'd see the day where I see a number 9 in front of a film title. It's crazy, and hopefully, you never know, next year or the year after, we're going to get Fast 10. It's going to, whatever it's going to be called, FX, I don't know, that would be a cool name, but yeah, it's mental. But we're kicking off with the Fast and the Furious. Listen, I think this is a classic. I really enjoyed this film. Yes, you can, like, it's just character interactions. It's got, like, you got the main villain, I think it's Tran, and then you got the backstory with Dominic Toretto and Paul Walker being the undercover cop, and then, you know, getting submerged into this family and everything. And, like, I enjoy the Fast and the Furious for what it is. It's typical cool cars, street racing, you know, back to its roots. Like, if you see how the series has progressed since then, like, I'm talking about, where's my cursor, around Fast 6 to 9. Completely different. But the Fast and Furious, like, it's definitely of its time, but I still enjoy it. And as a Fast and Furious film, I think it's solid, and I'll put it up there with the rank of Jedi Knight. Now, moving on to Too Fast and Too Furious, I rewatched this actually a couple months ago. I have the whole Fast and Furious franchise on Blu-ray, the box set, up until Fast 8. Stupid decision to purchase it when they're going to 10. Like, I could have just waited and then got a proper box set, but that's me being an idiot. But there we go. Too Fast and Furious, I actually watched a couple of months ago, and damn, I had a hell of a good time with it. I actually enjoy it. But yes, you got the typical drug lord villain, but who cares? I still find such enjoyment with this film. I love the soundtracks of this film, these films, like in general, all of them, like Too Fast, Too Furious, Old School, Ludacris, Ja Rule. I really enjoy Tyrese as well. I love the chemistry he has with Paul Walker, you know, when they're either arguing or just, you know, talking with each other. You know, like, I love the character interactions they have, and some of the dialogue is just so, like, what can I say? It's just typical homeboy dialogue. Like, how many times does Paul Walker says bruh? Like, oh, Tyrese says bruh, and then Paul Walker says, you know what I mean, cuz? Like, every time. Like, the amount of times Paul Walker says cuz or cuz, it's just so funny, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I enjoy the heck out of this movie. It's such a fun time, and like, Tyrese's energy was such a great addition to the franchise, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going to give Too Fast, Too Furious the rank of Jedi Knight. So we have 2 Jedi Knights at the moment. And yeah, listen, I'm just a positive guy. I enjoy Too Fast, Too Furious. Say what you want about it, but I really enjoy it, you know? Use them bus tokens, partner! You know, when they win the American Muscles. Oh, I actually enjoy it. I love Tyrese in the film, you know. I said again, his energy on screen is great. And now, we move on to the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. Such a departure from the franchise. Like, when I was watching him at a younger age, I was like, whoa, this film is so different, you know, because like, I was accustomed to seeing Paul Walker, at least in the Fast and Furious films, and when I first watched this, I'm like, is this really a Fast and Furious film? Because, you know, we have Sean and stuff, but then, I absolutely love the ending of this film. It's like a post-credit scene without being a post-credit scene, you know. Vin Diesel rocks up to the final street race with DK's like, you ready, kid? I just get such a kick out of it. I enjoyed Tokyo Drift. You know, you got your typical schoolboy elements as Sean tries to adjust her life in Japan. You know, the girl that's dating a jock. Typical cliched elements, and then the young freshman falls in love with her, and then he wins her over. But yeah, I enjoy this. I enjoy it. It's just the standard story of him trying to become the new Drift King and trying to, I guess, rise to the ranks to become the new DK from being an underdog. And I actually enjoy it for what it is. It's not an overcomplicated plot. It doesn't need to be. It's just set in Tokyo. Cool characters, you know, Twinkie, Han, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. And like, these 2 films, Too Fast, Too Furious, and Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, I think are one of the lowest. I think they are the lowest rated Fast and Furious films on IMDb, and I think they're really fun. Like, I don't think they deserve to be that low. In fact, I think some of the later films in the franchise are higher rated than these films on IMDb. But yeah, I think they're much more exciting, and there's less of a suspension of disbelief in these films. And again, like, cool car racing, street elements, and I enjoy them for what they are. And Tokyo Drift, say what you want, I'm going to give it the rank of Jedi Knight as well. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Now, we move on to Fast and Furious, you know, original titles. What can you say? Now, I haven't seen this film in a minute, so I'm going to be judging this based off my memory. I remember seeing some of the car racing sequences or from memory, like in the caves and tunnels, and remembering it to be like really CGI and just animated. But in terms of like bringing the franchise or carrying on from the post-credit scene of the Fast and the Furious, because I believe there was like a post-credit scene or deleted scene with Vin Diesel going to Mexico, I think, or yeah, Donnie Toretto going to Mexico, and kicking back off. I think it's a fine reintroduction to the franchise with Vin Diesel, you know, Brian O'Connor becoming a cop again, and then having to deal with seeing Vin Diesel and what's her name, Mia again. Like, I liked seeing those interactions because obviously we know what happens at the end of the Fast and the Furious, but I think from a story standpoint and some of the racing, I remember not getting a kick out of it. And there was too many characters as well. You know, you had Braga being like sort of the main villain. Then you had his sort of henchman, individual. I can't remember his name. The one that killed Letty. That guy. And then you had Gal Gadot's character, Giselle, introduced as well. But I remember enjoying it, but not quite to the level of these 3 films in Jedi Knight. So I think I'm going to give Fast and Furious the rank of Padawan. If you guys disagree with me, feel free in the comments. Let's debate. Let's have some fun. But these are relative to Fast and Furious rankings, okay? Not like what I'd give them in general, because I'm just making this ranking list for the time being. We're adapting it to Fast and Furious rankings and Fast and Furious films, okay? Now, on to Fast 5. Now, I remember my older cousin showing me the trailer to this film, and we were at a family barbecue, And he's like, oh, did you see the new Fast 5 trailer? And he said Fast and Furious 5. And he's like, it's called Fast 5. And my uncle's like, nah, nah. And they're like, oh, The Rock's in it. They're like, what the heck? The Rock? And like, having The Rock in the Fast and Furious franchise, like, for my uncles, this was like a family thing. And my uncles and cousins were discussing it. And I was a bit young at the time when this came out. I think I was like 9 or 10. But hearing about The Rock being in the film, I think that was such a draw to go and see it alone for like my family. And having The Rock, you know, in the trailer pitted against Vin Diesel, everyone wanted to go see it. And I think he was a fantastic addition to the franchise. And the way he played, you know, this militaristic style, no nonsense, you know, henchman, like big ass cop, like it was great to have him in the film. And I think he had that gravitas on screen. If that makes sense, going up against Vin Diesel and his crew, you know, you'd think he was a threat compared to the other, I guess, villains in the Fast and Furious franchise. Like, seeing The Rock on screen, you're like, oh damn, it's The Rock, he means business, he's down. And like, I think Fast 5 was a great, like, I think it's probably the best Fast and Furious film, in my opinion. You know, I get such a kick out of when Vin Diesel's, I keep saying Vin Diesel, but Dominic Toretto says, you know, we need someone who's fast talker, we need someone who's good with cars, and you're getting the crew together, and you have that sort of montage sequence, and it's great seeing all these characters together. I remember first watching it and seeing Han, I was like, wait, you died, my friend. You just died. How is he, like, and then like, you know, doing a little bit of Google search, and then obviously we see what happens in Fast 6, tying in the franchise and where Tokyo Drift, sits in terms of the timeline. And then yeah, Fast 9 does something to that, but we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, I think Fast 5 is probably the best Fast and Furious film. I love the ending action sequence, and if you look at the behind the scenes of how they filmed it, it's actually really impressive, and there was a lot of practical effects to it, which I really enjoy. You know, I think the latest films, in particular the Fate of the Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, and F9, although the action set pieces are actually really directed well, there tends to be a lot of green screen and CGI that does look a bit dodgy. Whereas Fast 5, I think there's a lot of great practical elements towards the action. And yes, you also have The Rock in it. And yeah, I think it was a great reinvigoration of the franchise. So that's why I think Fast 5 is going to get the rank of Jedi Master. I don't think anything is going to get the rank of Grand Master today, unfortunately. But we're, as I said before, relative to Fast and Furious, so calm down. And now, we move on to Fast and Furious 6. A film I saw in theaters with my dad, and I remember seeing it in theaters at the time, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved Fast and Furious 6. I just remember seeing The Rock team up with these guys, and from seeing Fast 5 and having for him to be on the same team, or I guess working together, you know, some of the chemistry and dialogue in Fast and Furious 6 is absolutely so funny. And I remember in the theater, like, everyone cracking up. And, you know, obviously, amazing soundtrack at the beginning with the montage with the whole crew. You have sort of like the build up to from Fast and Furious, and I can't remember the song. It's like, this moment we own it, and I'm not gonna say it because of copyright issues, but I think it was a hella fun time in the theaters. Taking it to the UK as well, different locations. I really enjoyed it. The Fast and Furious franchise going to Europe, and I thought Deckard Shaw, Luke Evans, I believe, pretty cool villain. But I enjoyed it. The Rock and his camaraderie with the crew, it was really great to see as well. And some bonkers action sequences as well. Like, remember when Dom caught Letty with the car? I remember seeing that in theater, and everyone's like, oh, it was like a what the F moment. And speaking of someone catching people with a car, we'll get to that in Fast 9. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, some of the, like, Ludacris as well, Tyree, seeing them on screen, some of their line deliveries, that was fantastic. You know, when The Rock's like, you better hide that baby oil, and he's like, you better hide that big ass forehead. And it's like, knowing now that was an improvised scene, and like Ludacris actually spilling the water was like completely off script, is great. So I'm gonna give Fast and Furious 6 the rank of Jedi Knight. I actually really dig it. Now, moving on to the Fast and Furious, Furious 7 as it's titled. This one, obviously, we know what happened with the sad passing of Paul Walker, and they had to halt production in the middle of it and completely change the whole story of the film. And that's why when it comes to the story of Furious 7, I give it a pass because the filmmakers and the whole crew had a completely difficult task of working around the tragic passing of Paul Walker. And I know on the poster here it says "One Last Ride," and it's an amazing poster. I love this poster, and obviously we know it wasn't one last ride, and it was so emotional. I remember crying seeing this in theaters. I actually cried. I'm a wuss, yes, I know. And I remember seeing it and coming out. I'm like, this is my favorite Fast and Furious film, and I think the ending is what gets everyone. You know, with the two cars separating, obviously the song as well. This film had an amazing sound. Like, I love the pop soundtracks in the Fast and Furious films, and this one had an amazing soundtrack. There were so many fantastic songs that I still listen to this day. And yes, some of the action sequences were freaking like, what the heck? Like, a car jumping from building to building in Dubai, like. But I guess it was inventive. They thought of new ways to completely be bonkers. And yes, the introduction of Kurt Russell as well, I enjoyed it. But this is where the series, I guess, started to become less about the cars and more about the spy espionage thing with the cars and less about street racing. But I guess a lot of people like, oh, we want the street racing roots. But if like you see how the films have been progressing and who they're getting involved with, I guess it makes sense for them to get involved in that stuff, and they sort of can't get out of that. But I think the last 3 films after Furious 7, I think completely like, yeah, go nonsensical with their plots. But yeah, Furious 7, the ending absolutely wrecked me. I saw it twice in theaters, and I haven't seen it since actually, but I think it will still get me, and I'll be really, really sad. But yeah, I remember it being enjoyable, fun, cool action sequences, going to Dubai, you know, amazing cars, and yeah, decent action as well. Again, a suspension of disbelief, but hey, we all know what happened with it. But yeah, I think it's a Jedi Knight worthy. And now, moving on to the Fate of the Furious. Now, previously, this was my least favorite Fast and Furious film. I think the trailers gave away everything. Obviously, with Vin Diesel doing the Optimus Prime in Transformers: The Last Night, turning completely on his family, and obviously we didn't get the reasons towards it. And I think the film tried to explain it or justify it, and I guess with I can't remember her name, Elsa Pacty's character with Dom having a baby, and then Cypher, the introduction of Charlize Theron. I didn't mind the Fate of the Furious. I quite enjoyed it, but I think it was like, it pushed me to the limits in terms of its like suspension of disbelief, and I was like completely annoyed by it by the end. And obviously Jason Statham's character, them accepting him to the family after what he did to Han, I was like, what the heck? You know, everything's about family now. And I didn't think they were going to continue the set franchise after 7 with this, and they went with it. And obviously you had the Rock and Vin Diesel feud, and you have that. I know that was in Fast 6, the awkward forced perspective scene with them not looking in the eyes. This one, I think the ending is them on top of a balcony or something, and there's like some cool sequences. There is enjoyment in this, but I just found it really lackluster, and I think they were really pushing the franchise to its limits with this. And although there's some enjoyment, I think I would give it the rank of Padawan. I don't think it's quite as low as Youngling, but there is still enjoyment in the Fate of the Furious. Now, moving on to Hobbs and Shaw. I went to the premiere of this in Sydney, so I have history with this film, but I'm not going to be, you know, going to give it a great ranking just because I went to the premiere. I remember quite enjoying it. It was a fun popcorn flick at the time, and I rewatched it last week. And yes, some of the effects don't age as well. I know it's only a 2019 film, but yeah, some of the green screen CGI is a bit iffy. But yeah, obviously The Rock had to find a way to go to Samoa, you know, the family roots. It is fun, but the plot is all over the place. There are some cool action sequences, but like some of the character decisions, like Rock completely jumping off a building, like without thinking of the consequences. You know, they're basically immortal now. They're basically superheroes. They can survive jumps from buildings, landing on cars without breaking a limb. It is fun, and I did enjoy some of the cameos with Ryan Reynolds in particular, as well Kevin Hart. That like some of the dialogue is absolutely great. Like they nail it on point in the delivery and the comedic dialogue and the delivery with The Rock and Jason Statham, and then that scene with Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds. It's great. But some of the villainous of the villain in this film and some of the technology used ties in with F9, and that's where I think F9 really falls to a detriment. I think is because of some of the introductions of the Hobbs and Shaw film and where F9 is going with its mid-credit scene, sorry, because there is a mid-credit scene in F9 which I think is going to tie into Hobbs and Shaw and some of the technology used in that. So I still have fun with Hobbs and Shaw, but I'm going to give it the rank of Padawan. Now, the last film, F9, came out last week. I did my review. I gave it the rank of Padawan. Rethinking on it now, I think it's the worst Fast and Furious film in the franchise. I think it didn't feel like a Fast and Furious film for me. I know you could say that about the other films or some of the other films, but this one, I felt like there was such a disconnect between the characters, like the core characters, and that family element. I don't think it was there. The camaraderie wasn't there in this film. You know, Ludacris and Tyrese, they're always good together, but there was that disconnect. Even like with Letty and Dom, it felt like it was completely all over the place. And the way they try to do justice to Han is not justice to Han at all. Although the mid-credit scene has got me intrigued for F10, definitely. And I think they're trying to tie it into Hobbs and Shaw somehow with some of the villain in Hobbs and Shaw. And if you've seen Hobbs and Shaw, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, completely spoil everything in the trailers. There is not a new action sequence that is not in the trailers that's in the film. Every action sequence or set piece that you've seen in the trailer is the only ones in the film, and even the final confrontation is. And the trailers were really poor for this film. They really blew their load on the trailers. Even Vin Diesel and John Cena's final confrontation is really lackluster. I did like some elements in this film. There is some really fantastic callbacks to every film in the series. They actually do well at handling the John Cena and Vin Diesel relationship as brothers, you know, tying it in and going back in time. I didn't expect them to delve into it that much, but they actually do. And I think Justin Lin did a fantastic job with some of the action sequences as well, and some of the directing, like using lots of wide panning shots and bird's eye view drone or helicopter shots to showcase like the scale of the action sequences and some of the practicality of them. But in terms of like suspension of disbelief, this is the most bonkers Fast and Furious film to date. They go completely over the top with it. And remember I said about catching Letty with the car? In this film, if you don't get caught by a car or saved by a car when jumping off a building, a bridge, or jumping off another car, it's not normal. You have to be caught by a car. And like, it's absolutely laughable at points. The plot is completely glossed over. There's too many characters as well that like appear on screen. I'm like, wait, you're in this film? I forgot you were in. Like, why are you here? And yeah, I felt like it was a disservice to the Fast and Furious franchise, if that makes sense. I think it was completely all over the place, and there's a lot of characters just talking and doing nothing in this film. And come to think about it, I think my rank of Padawan was a bit too high, and that's why I think I'm going to give the F9, the Fast Saga, Fast and Furious 9, whatever you want to call it, the rank of Youngling. I am going to drop it down a bit. And yes, we have some fantastic callbacks. I really enjoyed some of the callbacks, but yeah, there's an injustice to Han. Even Sean, the return of Sean, Twinkie, and I forgot the other guy's name. DK is not DK in this film. He's just comedic relief, and yeah, the plot's nonsensical. They even make fun of themselves. The series knows what it is now, but I still am excited to see Fast 10 because of the mid-credit scene. I know I've been rambling a lot, guys, in this video. I've been talking crap for about 23 minutes now, but hopefully you've enjoyed my Fast and Furious franchise tier list. And that's it. It's been your boy Ellie Moses. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, talk to me in the comments what you think you'd rank your Fast and Furious films based on my ranking system or your own. But as always, it's been your boy Ellie Moses. As always, take care, God bless, and peace.